Welcome back. The South Dakota State track meet runs this weekend in the Black Hills. One athlete to keep an eye on is a young man from Watertown. Pierre Lear is one of the best in the hurdles and the high jump, and he spent the first half of his life in Haiti. Tom Neiman has the story.
Obviously his athletic ability is a story in its own, but that's not the real story. The real story is what he's been through the past 10 years of his life has been simply amazing, something that, most people can never even imagine.
Pierre Lear is in his junior year now at Watertown High School, but he was born in Haiti, and his mother worked as a cook at an orphanage.
One day she decided to bring me there, and then they set up this adoption thing with, her name was Diana, and so she was from South Dakota, and then my parents, why they put me up for the adoption, because they wanted education for me, and they couldn't really provide that. And so that's why they were able to put me up for adoption. And then later on, I found out that my parents they said they were looking for a son because they have a younger brother. He's a freshman, and he said he wanted a brother, and so it worked out.
Pierre was 9 years old at the time, and that was in 2010, the year that Haiti was devastated by a massive earthquake.
We came early. The adoption process were early because of the earthquake, and so we had to be flown to Pittsburgh just to leave the country because the orphanage was all broken and things, the buildings.
It kind of gives you goosebumps across the board. It's simply amazing to go from his lifestyle in Haiti and whether it was one meal a day or whatever that he was able to get, it's amazing. And to be able to come here for the reasons he did in the education and that's the story. It's pretty cool.
Unlike most American kids, Lear did not grow up playing in organized youth leagues. And until he came to Watertown, he says he had very little firsthand knowledge of basketball or track or most other sports.
Main thing in Haiti what we did was soccer, so we just played soccer, but in the orphanage you just messed around and just kicked the ball around. It wasn't really organized sports. But then later on, I think 5th and 6th grade, we had the track and field day, and then I started to do more of that because basketball was introduced to me closer to 6th grade when they had a school ball, and so that's when I started to get into those.
When he first got here, I heard him talking about 5th and 6th grade field day, and you watch this little kid out there, skinny as can be and running around the track, and you're like, man, this kid's got some potential. That's at age 10, 11, 12 years old. And to grow what he's grown, what is he, 6'3", and he looks like your typical college track athlete. It's just and that's what he's become. He's just. But the best thing about him that I love the most is how humble he is. Whether it's win or lose, and whether he wins hurdle race after hurdle race or whatever. He leaves the track with the same mentality that he did when he got there. He doesn't walk around strutting his stuff. He competes and moves on and hangs with his friends and has a good faith in what he does, and it's very appreciative.
In the state meet last year, Lear finished 3rd in the 300-meter hurdles, 5th in the 110s, and 11th in the high jump. And he was usually good for a 2nd or 3rd place finish in those events during the regular season. But this year he is winning everything. Eastern South Dakota Conference indoor champion, ESD outdoor champ in both hurdle events and the high jump. He won those 3 events at the Pierre Legion Relays and both hurdle events at the Aberdeen Invitational. Lear ran a blazing 14.46 seconds in the 110 hurdles at a meet in Huron, and that broke a Watertown school record that had stood for 27 years.
It was a last chance meet, and so I just wanted to improve my time more in Huron, and I just was wanting to either get close to the school record or just get a better time for state, and I was able to get the school record with that, so I was pretty happy.
Lear is a true student of the game. He watches videos, he studies technique, and his improvement this year and over the last few years has been phenomenal.
Middle school, hurdles was just because I was fast and I was just bungee jumping over them, and then high school I got to like it more because of Godfrey and Coach Rody and teaching me how to really, really glide and get really low to the hurdles. That was something I struggled with, and now I think we're still working on it, but it's gotten better.
We used a pool noodle a lot, and I don't know if that's many people use that technique, but we put a pool noodle above the hurdle, and it's simply, if you hit this noodle with your head, you're not hurdling, you're jumping. And it was something pretty silly, but it's something that he understood. He understood where he was at as far as his technique over the hurdle, and he's improved tremendously. And of course, another year faster and stronger helps too.
And it's the same thing in the high jump, getting stronger and smarter and working harder all the time.
Over the summer, I worked a lot on my legs and box jumping to improve that, and then really pushing myself to do a better, perform better at the state meet, because I didn't really do good last year, and so that's been it. And then the approach we've gotten has been better because we have a coach's mark, and that usually I go too close to the bar, but now we got that down, so that's really good.
The technique has improved, tremendously, but it's still not anywhere where it could be. That's the crazy thing is, he goes from 5'10", 6 foot last year to clearing 6'6" and 6'5" on everyday basis. A lot of it's technique, and the best thing is for us, it can get better. So we're hoping he can improve, and I'm sure he will.
You have to be mentally prepared and then physically, but mentally part, you can have everything going for you, but if you don't believe, then probably won't happen. So it's just focusing, clearing your mind, especially when you're about to jump, get the bar, and just if it's higher than usual, then you just gotta psych yourself out a little bit.
He's the first to practice and the last to leave every day. There's nights when I've got meetings at 6 o'clock and, we're still overworking high jump just because he wants to. It's not because he has to, it's just he wants to. He wants to improve and he wants to get to that next level. And of course he has a lot of goals, but, that's just where he's at. He's always here every day, and there's never a question with his work ethic and his mentality, and it's just good stuff.
The big schools will be in Sturgis for day one of the state meet tomorrow, Friday. Lear will compete in the high jump finals there, and then all classes move to Rapid City for day 2. Lear will run the 110 and 300 meter hurdles there on Saturday, so best of luck to him. Later that afternoon in Rapid City and Bismarck, South Dakota and North Dakota will crown their 2018 state track team champions. And as always, our Alex Heinert has made a few predictions on who will be lifting trophies at the day's end. He's on his way to the Black Hills, so I'll pass along his picks for you, starting in South Dakota. Alex is 100% confident that the Sioux Falls Lincoln boys will take the AA title for a third straight year. He's got the Pats potentially hitting the 200-point barrier, an unprecedented number at a state meet. He's a little less confident in his Class A and B picks, though. He's going with the Sioux Falls Christian to edge St. Thomas More for the A boys crown for the second year in a row, while Freeman seems to be the most likely to win it all in a crowded group of very even squads in Class B. For the Rushmore State girls team races, Dubrook area looks like a clear favorite to win the Class B crown for a second year running, while St. Thomas More should take top honors for Class A for the 5th time in the last 6 years. The AA girls race should be a tight one between two-time defending champ Sioux Falls Lincoln and perennial runner-up Brandon Valley. But Alex is going with the Lynx to earn their first state track team championship. In North Dakota, the boys team races should have a little bit of drama to them, but Bismarck Century and Dickinson Trinity have more depth than everyone else. The Pats will keep the Class A boys team trophy in Bismarck for a 15th straight season, while the Titans should have enough firepower to end a run of 3 state titles for Newtown in Class B. Last but not least, Alex is all in on a 3rd straight Class A girls crown for Fargo Davies. And while he's a little less optimistic that Hazen can make it 4th straight in Class B, he's still going with the Bison over top contenders Hillsborough Central Valley in what's likely to be the tightest team race in North Dakota. For updates on what's happening all weekend at both state meets, keep up with Alex on Twitter. That's @AHeinert Midco SN. And be sure to follow our Midco SN Instagram account for pictures, recaps, and a whole lot more. We'll have full highlights and reaction next Tuesday right here on MST. We are going to step away for a moment, but after the break, we're talking Sanford Legends for Kids. The annual clinics are about to start here in Sioux Falls, and we'll hear from Legends coordinator Brad Coleman on what to expect this year. Stay with us.